All right, there we go. Now we got sound. All right, we're live. So welcome back to Dapp University. So today we're going to talk about something pretty critical that you need to watch out for, okay? A lot of people are sitting around kind of waiting for the next leg of the crypto bull market to, resume play, for Bitcoin to start making new all-time highs, for Ether to start making new all-time highs, and really just see kind of how far we can go with this whole thing. We've been watching this extensively on this channel and these live shows we do Monday through Friday. Just subscribe, turn the notifications down below if you haven't already. But today we're going to talk about something that looks like we may be headed there sooner than people think. All right, it's actually an indicator that I want to talk about and why it's important, what you need to watch out for. We're going to look at that. We're going to look at a lot of the other news updates that have happened in the space since yesterday, answer some of your questions, and a lot more. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you learn how to master blockchain step by step, start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. Last but not least, nothing I'm saying in these videos is designed to be financial advice, and there's lots of scammers down in the comment section below. Just ignore them. I'll never give you my phone number or ask you to invest with me. All right, so we got people jumping in the chat here. We got Culture Hives, CodeChap, Lee, THX Like This, Drew. Welcome. Paul, Independence. Awesome. So let's go ahead and dive in here. So, a lot of people are sitting around waiting for a next leg of a crypto bull market where prices can, increase, where Bitcoin can start making new all-time highs, Ether, other coins start making new all-time highs. And I've been covering this extensively on these live streams that, the unfavorable price action that we've seen over the past, 6 months or so, that I did not think that we were in a multi-year bear market. There was likely some sort of correction based upon, fundamentals of the space moving forward. That's always been my long-term thesis on the channel. As you, create technology with more utility value for others, insofar as that cryptocurrency is incorporated into that, and that value can actually accrue to those cryptocurrencies themselves as, those networks get used more and more. Okay, so that maintains true. So I've always tried to stick to the fundamentals on this channel, but now I actually want to talk about some technical indicators. And I'll preface this with saying, I'm not a huge technical analyst. I don't pretend to be one. But there are some basics that I do like to watch out for from time to time, and today is one of those days, okay? So let's actually look and see what I'm talking about. So basically, the Bitcoin price is back at $54,000. This has got a lot of people excited. I mean, just psychologically speaking, the fact that Bitcoin's up in the mid $50,000 range, which is only $10,000 away from its previous all-time high, approximately. It's kind of got a lot of people excited. But I actually want to look at an indicator on the chart here, which is the downtrend that Bitcoin has kind of been in for a while. And if you look at it from peak to peak, we were up at this peak, within the past day or so, and we really just smashed through it. Okay. So that's technically speaking a breakout of that downtrend if you're measuring this way. So what does this mean? All right. So this does not necessarily mean that, it's just moon time for sure. No guarantee. There's no guarantees in life, especially not even with crypto. So what this means is it increases the likelihood that the bearishness that we've seen here is basically wearing off, okay? And it increases the likelihood that we're resuming an uptrend. If you zoom out, right, you kind of look at this general uptrend over time, it increases the likelihood that uptrend starts to resume. Okay, so that's what I'm watching out for. That's what gets me the most excited, because this is a situation where this technical indicator seems to confirm sort of the overall thesis that, things are moving forward based on the fundamentals themselves, okay? Because sometimes they don't always match up, and this looks like an indication that they are likely saying the same thing. So that is what I'm excited about. That's what I'm watching for. As always, like I said, not financial advice, but I have a feeling we're going to start seeing some all-time highs relatively soon on the grand scheme of things. Like I said, there's no promises on a timeline for what that looks like, but I think it's much more likely, think about terms likelihood, that we'll see all-time highs more rather than, new lows. I'll put it that way. So let me know what you all think down in the chat below. Let's check on the overall cryptos here. So Bitcoin's back at $54,000. ETH is at $3,500. I just watched it cross into $3,600 territory. Pretty much everything's green, right? Past 7 days, everybody in the majors, with a couple exceptions, is up double-digit %, right? Gosh, USDC coin never does anything. It's kind of a lame joke. People make it all the time, though. How do you short USDC? So one thing I actually want to look at, of course, I've covered, Raou Paul's predictions and thesis on this channel quite a bit. I think he's got a lot of great things to say in this space. I actually saw a video that that was put out, I think it was maybe 2 days ago. He was actually on Pomp's channel. He was interviewed and asked about what he thought, what his price predictions were for Bitcoin and Ether this year and also end of the cycle. And I think he's actually upped them since the last time I heard him publicly talk about his price predictions. Actually, I'm going to play this clip because it's pretty nuts. So have to go subscribe. Some full credit. This is on Pomp's channel. You can go subscribe to Pomp's channel if you want to. But let me just make sure this actually plays through my system.
All right, I want to wrap up with the question we ask everyone. We need a Bitcoin price prediction by end of year, and I need an Ethereum price prediction by end of year. What do you got for us?
I was doing some work on this on the weekend for Global Macro Investor. I'm kind of thinking, I'm kind of a little bit overly bullish right now. And I think the cycle, well, no, because that's not fair because I was looking at the cycle itself. I think Bitcoin somewhere north of 200 and ETH closer to 15K. But I think we finished the cycle with Bitcoin close to 400 and ETH closer to 40,000.
All right. So you think by end of year, we've got Bitcoin 200K or so. We've got ETH at 15K. You think end of cycle, which in your opinion, it sounds like kind of February, March of next year.
Something like that, yeah.
Bitcoin's 400,000 and ETH is 40,000.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people watching who hope you're right.
Yeah, so that's pretty crazy. That's pretty astronomical price predictions compared to where we are today. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm not necessarily even telling you that I expect the cryptocurrencies to go that high. But if that's even close to true, that's pretty nuts compared to where we are today. All right, that would be basically putting ETH at about a little over 10x from where we are right now. And Bitcoin at like a 8x, something like that, 7-8x. Let's see here. So much about Uptober. Yeah, I've definitely seen the Uptober meme float around. Hey, I think Uptober is welcome after we kind of saw some bearishness in September. I guess the statistics hold true that September is typically a bad month for cryptos. Who knows why that's the case, but it turned out to be true this past year too. So another cool thing I saw yesterday, speaking of the fundamentals in the space, is Bitcoin set to become legal payment in Brazil. All right, so this is a trend that keeps kind of continuing on. So we can look at some details here. So Brazil's federal deputy, Raou, I'm sorry, I'm really going to mispronounce this name, so I'm just going to skip over it. My apologies, everybody, especially if you represent Brazil. My heart goes out to you. I can't say this name very well. Has revealed that Brazilians could soon be able to buy houses, cars, and even McDonald's with Bitcoin. So the South American nation is preparing to vote on a cryptocurrency regulation bill, which is expected to be present to the plenary of Chamber of Deputies within the next few days. All right. So we want to separate the wheat from the chaff, create regulations so that you can trade, know where you're buying, and know who you're dealing with. All right. So Brazil's crypto law is an example of other countries. So basically said that the approval of the Bitcoin law stressed that Brazilians were already facing Bitcoin in many places with the possibility of buying, selling, investing in the sector. And they basically are just trying to get this to a point where it makes sense for more people to participate, without wondering what they're getting themselves into. So, we're definitely seeing this trend take off. More, crypto friendly kind of countries do their thing. Of course, we've seen El Salvador, do Bitcoin as legal tender. Speaking of more people getting into crypto, we did see this come up yesterday too. So we did see confirmation that George Soros' family office owns Bitcoin. Okay. I did see a tweet come out from Zero Hedge yesterday talking about how Soros, allegedly have been cashing out of some stocks and actually rotating some funds into crypto. So if that's even close to true, that's a big deal. Okay. I know George Soros is kind of a mixed, it has people have mixed feelings about George Soros, but as a legendary investor, regardless of what you think, and yeah, it's pretty crazy. So more on the, let's just see here. Hold on a second. Some pretty funny comments in the chat. This is massive adoption of cryptocurrencies going on. Yes, massive adoption of cryptocurrencies going on. And that's, that's one of the crazy things to think about because, still a lot of us who are in this game are kind of wondering like, hey, are we at a cryptocurrency super cycle in terms of the price? Or are we still in a boom and bust cycle in terms of the overall, cryptocurrency markets? Like, are we gonna have a traditional market cycle this time where we have a big blow off top, all right? And then we enter into some really long bear market where, maybe things lose 70% of their value, 80% of their value. Or are we in a general uptrend with more shallow and gentle boom and, some more shallow blow ups along the way, like we saw earlier this year, where, majors lost about 50% of their value, Bitcoin, Ether, other stuff like that, but, recovered pretty quickly. Could we see that kind of pattern play out, and maybe as cryptocurrency becomes more and more adopted, those blow-ups become less severe, and we have some sort of general uptrend, maybe smaller price corrections like you might see in the S&P 500 or something like that. Now, that being said, if we saw smaller price corrections like that, essentially the volatility reducing, then you're probably going to have less upside potential as well. So that it comes with the territory, right? Whatever can go down quickly can also go up quickly. So, there's lots of different theories on this, and nobody knows for sure. So I think the people who are in the camp of cryptocurrency being in a traditional boom and bust cycle where it has a parabolic blow off top and actually sees some sort of long-term bear market, I think a lot of those people are having way bigger price predictions for major cryptocurrencies than what a lot of people think. Kind of like the prediction we just saw a minute ago of, Bitcoin being $400,000 and ETH being $40,000. That would make sense simply because those prices are so high that if we actually reach those levels, I would probably be in that same camp of like, this is unsustainable. we're going up in a vertical line, right? And you can't do that forever, and it's going to correct, and it's going to correct hard, and it's going to correct for a long time. So I think it stands to reason if that happens, we're probably in some sort of massive euphoria that's not going to end well in the medium to long term. So that's what I would say. But if we don't reach those price levels, let's say Bitcoin goes to $100,000, ETH goes to 10K or something like that, that would put me more in the camp of a long-term super cycle. So let me know what y'all think down in the comment section below. So somebody says, with ETH moving to 2.0, will that mean the price may rise past the speculated $15,000 as it will be proof of stake algorithm? So, nobody knows necessarily what's going to happen based on the ETH 2.0 upgrade. The ETH 2.0 upgrade will affect the economics of Ether itself in terms of the supply. So I'll talk about what I mean there. Basically, with Ethereum 2.0, if Ethereum 2.0 were turned on right now, ETH would be negative 1.9% inflation per year, which would be about 2% deflationary, basically. So the reason for this is when proof of stake happens, the amount of new ether created by the network when blocks are added to the blockchain reduces significantly. It's what's called the triple halving. So right now, on Ethereum 1.0, like when you mine transactions, like if I send ether from my account to yours, like that transaction gets included into a block, which gets included in the blockchain, and then a miner facilitates that process, and they're rewarded for doing that. So they get paid two ways. One comes from the fee that I paid to send the transaction to you, and the other way is because the blockchain actually creates new ether. It emits like new currency into the supply, so it's inflationary. So it's inflationary right now by about 4%, all right? And this has been affected by EIP 1559, but pre-EIP 1559, it was about 4%. So right now it's more like 2.3%. You can kind of see the stats here. So anyways, pre-EIP 1559 is 4%. When the merge happens, that's going to get cut in half 3 times. So from 4 to 2, 2 to 1, 1 to 0.5. So ETH would be 0.5% inflationary with the merge, assuming that there was hardly any network activity. But then you add EIP 1559 on top of that. So new ETH is getting burned whenever new transactions are created. So that's actually the amount of network activities is that burns that ETH is going to be greater than the issuance itself. And so it chops it off and offsets it and makes actually ETH become deflationary. And so that's if the current network activity that you see right now is happening, which I only expect it to be greater than what it is now, and then proof of stake gets turned on where the ETH issuance is cut in half 3 times to 0.5% per year, then ETH will be deflationary by 2%. I know it's kind of a long-winded explanation, but that's the nitty-gritty details. So that can have an impact on the price of Ether is the whole point. You know, what we saw yesterday, you can see the ETH supply in smart contracts in terms of the percentage, all right, is actually about 28%. So we're approaching a third of the ETH supply is getting locked up. So if you think about the economics of ETH, about a third of the supply is locked up. A lot of it's getting burned. Whenever we move to proof of stake, it's we're going to reduce the supply. It's going to be deflationary. A third of it's not doing anything or is being productive. I mean, that's a massive supply shock, assuming that more people want to buy ETH, and they could very well send the price to astronomical levels. So those are the fundamentals that could actually support some of these really high price predictions that, like Raul was talking about. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. But we'll have to wait and see. It's anything could happen. You're boring. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's see here. So when ETH 2.0 comes, what will happen to the Matic network? I don't know, to tell you the truth. I think a lot of these ecosystems that spun up on the side are not going to go away. The question is, how attractive will they be compared to what ETH 2.0 is doing, especially with Ethereum Layer 2? So that's the important thing to think about. It's not just about ETH 2.0, it's also about Layer 2 scaling solutions. Because even when ETH 2.0 comes out, that's not going to fix the transaction cost of ETH. ETH will get faster whenever sharding happens, all that type of stuff. The scalability will increase long term, but post merge it's not just going to magically get better. So we will have layer 2 scaling solutions in tandem with ETH 2.0 long term as the long term vision. So we're talking about optimistic rollups, zero knowledge rollups, all that type of stuff. We have people able to build proprietary layer 2s on top of the Ethereum chain. Saw that with Visa. Visa is actually talking about implementing this. They've already spun up smart contracts for it. I put a video about that on Monday. Check that out if you haven't already. That's the long-term vision, because ETH 2.0 is not just going to fix the scalability issue or the gas fee issue. So this is just like GameStop. Regulators will come after Bitcoin. Well, we did see comments from SEC Chair Gary Gensler, not yesterday, maybe the day before, talking about the SEC does not plan to regulate or does not plan to ban cryptocurrencies. We also seen favorable comments from Jerome Powell. That doesn't mean some other body of the government couldn't crack down on crypto in some way. I mean, we have to wait and see what Congress does with the infrastructure bill, all that type of stuff. But I really just don't think it's going to be in the U.S.'s DNA to completely ban cryptocurrencies, especially not when we have so many Americans who own it. I think I saw the stat from the conversation with Gensler with another representative. I can't remember who it was off the top of my head, but I think the stat was, I think it was like 15% of Americans own digital assets. That's a lot of people. America's 330 million people. Let's look at the math here. About 50 million people. So what is your thoughts on taking profits on the way up versus holding? That's literally the $1 million question for a lot of people. So yeah, it's a good question. I mean, if you take profits, there's pros and cons, right? You know, when you're taking profits, you're probably always going to be in a situation where you could have sold for higher versus a long-term hold. Timing the market's challenging. I think, but I mean, if you're taking profits in a time where it's pretty clear that you're in a massive euphoric bubble, that's probably a pretty safe bet. Just most people in general are horrible timing the market. I'm not great at timing the market. That doesn't mean I can't have long-term opportunity in crypto. And honestly, I would be pretty skeptical of anybody who claims to be good at timing the market. Some people have a really good track record, but vast majority of people do not. Do I think Immutable X is ahead of the L2 race? Immutable X is doing pretty well, doing strong. Let's see here. Somebody says, do I store funds in a hardware wallet? Thinking about getting one. So if you're thinking about getting a hardware wallet, you have to understand the trade-offs, of what you're doing. I guess it depends on like what do you want to do with the hardware wallet? Are you talking about making transactions frequently, all that type of stuff? So with the hardware wallet, I mean, you got to back up your seed phrase. If assuming that you use something with that whatever the standard is, the Bitcoin standard, like the 1224 word seed phrase. I forget the Bitcoin number off the top of my head, the BIP number. But anyways, if you do that, whatever your backup method is, you really got to make sure that you don't ever lose that thing or have multiple copies. I mean, you can also memorize it, but if you become incapacitated in some way, then somebody also has to know how to get to your backup. If you got family or something like that. Thoughts on Webull crypto? I've never used it. You need to see what the terms are in terms of whether you actually own cryptocurrency. And if you want to take cryptocurrency off the platform, can you do it? Or do you have to like cash out into US dollars? I remember that was the case with Robinhood when it first started. I never personally used Robinhood, but there were people, I saw this come out in the news where basically like people were saying, I want to take my crypto off Robinhood, but in order to do that, I have to turn it into dollars and then basically like go buy it again somewhere else. Which you got two problems there. You got fees in the first place, which there's no fees, but it's always baked into the exchange rate, or also taxable event. So if, like, say you got Bitcoin and it went up 2x, then well, you're not walking away with 2x. You're walking away with whatever your percentage in taxes are that you owe on that. Someone says use DEX instead. I would use a DEX instead. Depends on what you're trading. Problem with DEXs is if you're talking about different blockchains, it's hard to make everything compatible. Of course, you got bridges. If you got Bitcoin, you can wrap Bitcoin, all that type of stuff. But there are certain risks with doing everything on chain. When we're talking about cross-chain collaboration, that I don't know. Some of those risks are just as bad as just staying on a centralized exchange. Sometimes they're even worse. Here's the thing about custodying your own funds. If you make a mistake and you lose your funds, like nobody's going to help you get them back. I realize that might be true on an exchange too, but there's always the possibility that somebody could help you if something went wrong on an exchange. All right, everybody, that's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. That really helps these videos out so that more people can learn about blockchain. And if you're as fascinated with this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, I'll get you started today. Well, you can go to my YouTube homepage. You find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely, I can show you how to become a blockchain master step-by-step start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. Until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.